the boogeyman, Kyle Shanahan, and the 49ers visit Lambeau Field in a game to have major implications in the NFC. Can the Packers beat a team who has had their number in the last few years? Let's talk it out.
Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay. Hey. Yeah, ain't no errors, baby. It's a new era. I wake up early feeling rich like I'm Kesha.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Sounds Gouda. My name is Jordan Olson, and my co-host and best friend, Rob Ralph. We're here to talk Packers football today with you. We've got a big game coming up tomorrow against the 49ers, a game that Rob and I and our fathers will be at. So, as Rob would say, sweet baby Jesus, let's get a win. But before we get into talking X's and O's and matchups and, reliving our biggest fears, we just want to thank you all for being here, both to our new and returning listeners. We're excited, as always, to be talking Packers ball. We have new episodes every Wednesday and Saturday on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So the Packers, right now, we're recording this on Sunday following the Week 10 games. The 49ers are marked as a 1-point favorite right now. I expect after the outcomes today, not so much because of the Packers' near win on the road, but the Niners' loss, I expect that maybe to flip. And I don't know what it'll be, but I'm going to expect it to be Packers -1 as we get into the middle and end of the week. So what do you think, Rob?
Well, there's a lot of, not to speak of the Chicago Bears, who we just talked about them, but the Bears, you don't know what it feels like. You have no idea. Have you met the San Francisco 49ers? They have the Packers number, especially in the playoffs. So we do. The 49ers, Jordan, every single game we've been to, including the playoffs, right, at Lambeau, they have lost. The Packers have lost. So the 49ers are to us as what we are to the Chicago Bears. They have our number. They have for the last 20 years, 15, 20 years. I don't know. Long time.
Since the Brett Favre era, really, I mean, since Rodgers came in. But, I mean, the difference would be, we have won a couple regular season games against the Niners where, the Bears have lost 11 in a row to the Packers. But yeah, we're not talking about the Bears here. But
poor Bears, man.
Let's get into that. So the Niners, they lost a back and forth game, we had a back and forth game against the Bears. The Niners lost a back and forth game to the Seahawks, in which the Seahawks orchestrated an 80-yard 2-minute drive, and Geno Smith runs it in with 12 seconds left in the game, and the Seahawks win. So they're on the opposite end of losing a tough game against a divisional opponent. I don't know. How do you think that has the Niners feeling going into this game?
I mean, I think the line kind of reflects it, and I think it could be going from the Niners -1 to almost like a pick 'em. It could almost go to a pick 'em. It could swing to the Packers -1, maybe 1.5. Arguably, just thinking about how this line could move from just strictly on a betting perspective. I think, there has been a couple of times though too, in the regular season. God, it's not the playoffs. We have taken care of business against the 49ers. So the 49ers are an interesting team because their record is currently 5-5, and I thought for sure that they were going to beat the Seahawks today. So that was a game that, raise your hand, I got wrong. I feel like the 49ers should be a lot better than what their record currently is. On offense, they're 8th in points scored a game at 25.9. They're second in passing yards per game at 262. 4th in rush yards per game at 149. So I don't think it's really indicative of to how this team actually can be. Now, losing Brandon Ayuk for sure hurts, but you have a pretty decent offensive line with one of the best tackles in Trent Williams. Christian McCaffrey just came back. That was his second game back. Forgot what he ended up getting, but he's a dynamic back, right? We've all seen him and heard of him and know what he's done to the Packers. You got Juwan Jennings, who's sneaky good. Kind of reminds me of like MVS, very MVS type style of play. I think that's actually a really good comp for him. Ricky Purcell that they got. He was out of Florida, I believe, their first pick in the draft. He started to bring it on, and then you got Deebo Samuel, who's your halfback slash slot receiver slash outside receiver slash sometimes tight end. They move them all over the board. So I think there's a lot of ways that this team can beat you, and they're actually pretty sound and solid too on defense as well. Jordan, go ahead.
Just looking at those statistics and trying to figure out how that even makes sense. You have a team that's in the has top 10 offense and a top 10 defense, and you're 5-5, and I know they've had a rash of injuries. I mean, I had a hard time believing that Christian McCaffrey, the loss of him was worth 3 or 4 losses. But I mean, God, I mean the statistics show that they were fine without him. So,
and Mason's a good running back. He's a good backup running back too.
Yeah, and I mean he's gotten his opportunity because their other back, what's his name? He's injured on IR right now too. It's trying to see Elijah Mitchell.
Yep.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean just a lot to talk about. Besides our irrational fears, we have Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, two of the best young play callers, and hopefully Matt LaFleur had a long, hard conversation with himself after the Bears game this past week, and maybe we'll make a little bit smarter decisions. I can't really overall question his play calling ability because we drive down the field. It's just in the red zone. Some of these things, I think he overthinks it.
Yes, he does.
I think he overthinks it. He's the classic smartest guy in the room. I mean, maybe not with Shanahan there, but like most of the time, smartest guy in the room who overanalyzes, like analysis by paralysis or paralysis by analysis type of situation, right? But this will be the first time Jeff Hafley faces that Kyle Shanahan offense, and he's an old 49ers staffer.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. And then the Bears had a ton of success on the ground, and the 49ers have a great rushing attack, and typically that's where they've eaten us alive. So I'm a little concerned about that going into this week. What do you think? Are we going to be able to stop the Niners rushing attack?
I mean, I really hope so, because DeAndre Swift is nowhere close to what Christian McCaffrey is. But this is also me assuming that Christian McCaffrey is at 100%, which I think is slightly debatable and subjective. No one really knows, I'm sure, except for the doctors over there. But he's very good. He's killed us before. He kills multiple teams. He's arguably the best running back in the league when healthy. Probably is.
I would say so.
Yeah, they are a dynamic offense. The only thing that I think that will kind of get a little bit of relief from is, unless Kyle Shanahan is way in his bag and starts making Brock Purdy do RPOs galore like Caleb Williams was doing on our defense, he's going to be a little bit more of your statue. I mean, he'll get out of the pocket a time or two, whatever, but it's very infrequent.
He rushed for 40 yards last week.
Don't let me eat my words right now. I said he's going to stay in the pocket. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if he puts on the tape from the Bears and he sees what Caleb Williams did to us on the edge, how many times was there whatever play there was, and he got around the edge 15, 16, whatever yards? Like, if Brock Purdy did that more against the Packers defense, Caleb Williams or Brock Purdy, I think he could probably have a little bit of success on that. So,
well, I think they're going to need to be more disciplined, and Matt LaFleur said this in his presser. I mean, it's more disciplined with their rushing lanes. I think that their game plan last week against the Bears was to pressure Caleb Williams. They blitzed around the outside and opened up huge running lanes right up the middle, right?
Huge.
I mean,
yeah,
Brock Purdy, he's a statue, but he's a better athlete than you and I are at this point in time.
Well, yeah.
And I could pick up 5 yards a scramble with the rushing lanes that were opened against the Bears, but like no discredit to Caleb Williams. He did a lot better than that. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, you need to get 3rd and 2, and that opens up. You're going to convert. So we're going to have to be a little bit more disciplined on defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Purdy's a very solid quarterback too as well. if anybody wants to take a listen, shameless plug, but I believe we did, some of our top quarterbacks way back when. I don't know what episode that was, but we'll plug that.
Preseason.
Yeah, preseason. So you can go ahead and boom, right up there, take a look at it. So I'll plug that one, but he's a solid quarterback. They have a really, really good offense, pretty good offensive line. And then defense, they did lose Eric Armstead to the Colts. He's a massive human being there in the middle. I think they do miss him a little bit, but they're still pretty solid on defense too. I mean, 17th in points allowed per game, 12th in pass yards. Yeah, pass yards allowed, right? 197, and then are they 8th in the league? Yeah, 8th in the league and stopping the run too. So, I mean, you got Fred Warner there. God, man, what our defense would look like if we had a Fred Warner on the Packers. Or maybe it is Edwin Cooper. He just needs to play more. But, and then, the back half, I think they got Ricardo Greeno. They got him. He's been playing pretty solid.
Renardo Green,
thank you. So their
Malik
defense
Mustafa, they have a young secondary.
Yeah.
And actually, they retooled their defensive line through free agency, too. I mean, it's not the same household names from the 49ers defense the last couple of years, but clearly they're getting production, if you're talking about a top 10 unit despite youth and turnover. I mean, it's a solid unit. So,
yeah. And so, that's my point. It's don't take this team for granted. The 5-5, played pretty back and forth with the Seattle Seahawks, which is one of their divisional rivals. This has major, the Bears game did though as well, major playoff implications against an NFC opponent and somebody who I think is going to sneak in there into either the wild card or, depending on what happens with the Cardinals, could even win that division. 8, 9, maybe 10 wins, whatever it's going to be there, depending on how hot the Cardinals get. So our red zone has to get better. We have to score in the red zone. We have to make better decisions out there and better play calls. And when you need to kick a field goal, if it feels, don't try and outsmart yourself, Matt LaFleur. Just kick the field goal. Hopefully the defense can play a little bit more sound, a little bit more solid. I don't think that Brock Purdy's going to be trying to throw quick slants 50 times a game or whatever it was. That the Bears did to try to get Williams back on track. But either way, you take this 49er for granted, and we've seen Jordan, minus a couple times in the regular season, time again. They always kick the Packers' ass.
Yeah, so a little bit of a speed round for you, Rob. So let's not spend a lot of time on this, but we'll just throw Christian McCaffrey out because, it's clear we have to stop him. But if you have to stop one of Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, which guy are you trying to eliminate if you can take one away from them, knowing the other two are going to take advantage?
I want to say McCaffrey, but that means that I really mean George Kittle. So George Kittle against our linebackers / slot defensive backs. It's George Kittle to me, I think. I saw in that game, though, too, and granted, Caleb Williams made a couple of really good passes, but I've seen it happen before, and I've seen it with McCaffrey, though, as well. But George Kittle's such a dynamic tight end, and he's so smart. He's like another Travis Kelce. He'll easily take advantage. He knows when to sit. He knows when to go. He knows how to block. If you can limit or stifle George Kittle and what he can do as a pass blocker, as a blocker, and as a person out there in the flats for wherever he goes, I think we have a ton more success. But then we're going to get shot in the foot from Deebo Samuel or Rick Versailles or Christian McCaffrey. So it's a really tough team to stop.
Yeah. No, I like that for sure. I agree. Kittle might be the guy to try to eliminate. But all right, flip to the other side of the ball. Packers wide receiver. Which one of the three will need to have the best game to go off, and why do you like that matchup? Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed.
You know what? We had some pretty good explosive plays against the Bears. And you want to know why? Christian Watson, baby. He's off the milk carton. Officially. He was in Soldier Field. Now he'll be at Lambeau Field against the 49ers. He just gives such another really good dynamic to this team. And he made some awesome catches. Without Christian Watson, we don't win that game. So, answer Christian Watson, even if you're not throwing to him, the vertical threat and the attention he's going to take will open up everything else on the flats or in the middles or on the slants or on the boundaries too as well. So to me, Christian Watson needs to be an integral part of this game. You saw the impact that it made and that he had with Chicago. Now, if we wouldn't have shot ourselves in the foot and made bad play calls and were better red zone efficiency, like you were saying, Jordan, we probably would have won 27-19, right? So, Christian
Yeah,
Watson.
I like that take too. I'm just going to say that I think it's going to, every time somebody has a big week, it's somebody else. So I think Jaden Reed is going to have a big game. He's going to be Debo light. Kyle Shanahan is going to look across and say, oh, he's not doing all the things that Debo's doing, but I really like the things that Matt LaFleur is doing with Jaden Reed in that offense.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
And just one other thing, I think Josh Jacobs is going to continue to eat. I know the 49ers have a good run defense, but Josh Jacobs, every time he gets hit, he just finds a way to spin and churn out another 2 or 3 yards. He's been extremely effective in the passing game.
Yeah.
I want more and more of that. So we're not going to touch on too much. We'll see what happens with Alexander. Having him back would be a big boon.
Yeah.
We don't know what's happened with Wooden. The 49ers have a rash of guys on the IR, but too early to tell about some of those other players from this past week. Score prediction. I am going another excruciating, painful, stressful, nail-biting game, but with a positive outcome for the Packers, and I'm picking the Packers to win 24-23 in another seesaw back-and-forth game. And the Packers come out on top of this one. So what do you think, Rob?
We're going to be at the game, Jordan. I'll keep this short and sweet. As I'm in line with you as well. I picked the Packers to win 20-21.
All right, let's make it happen.
All right. So thank you, as always, everyone, for coming back and taking a listen to us. We generally do appreciate it. We do have new content every Wednesday, every Saturday. Every Wednesday is a recap from the game previous. Every Saturday is a preview for the upcoming game. We are on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So make sure to give us a subscribe, like, and follow us there on those platforms. We are also on X. I recently switched ours to the Sounds Gouda page. So it Sounds Gouda with 3 A's at the end. So it sounds like Sounds Gouda. Okay, I'm done. And then also at Olson Jordan, you can catch him there. But, we got a couple of really good games here at Lambeau with the 49ers, and then after that, the Dolphins. So let's go ahead and let's actually kick the 49ers' butt for once. I appreciate you all coming back. Take a listen to us, and we hope you have a good morning, a good afternoon, and a good night. Take care. Go Pack, go.
Go Pack.
Been wanted this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Okay. Hey.